Okay, so what I want to show you tonight is how to do embossing on metal clay. Okay, how many are on Facebook, and how many of you are on Facebook? Say yes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is show you how to emboss on this item. It's going to be an earring. How about that? It's going to be an earring, and I'm going to use fingernail polish to paint on this earring. So I've already used a stamp pad and a stamp to put this picture on my piece. So in order to do that, it was a stamp pad and a stamp. Okay, so there's the picture, and here's the fingernail polish. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. Gee, I had this all worked out beforehand, and then things went bonkers. How's that look? Can everybody see it? All right, we're gonna try this. Okay, so you're gonna see right here, I'm going to put my fingernail polish right here. And then I have my paintbrush, and I'm going to take my paintbrush and just dip it here, and I'm going to just paint this black line with fingernail polish. Now, for those of you who are not metal clayers who are watching this, this is art clay silver. It's sterling silver art clay that we're going to emboss. And then once it's embossed, I'll fire it in my kiln and it will be sterling silver. So I'm just using the paintbrush to paint the lines, and I got a little off when I got started, so it's too late to fix that part now, but I'm not good at painting straight lines. But the whole idea is to paint around the black lines, let that dry. I'll set that one aside. I have another one here. I'll try to be straighter on this one. I have a little piece here that I don't like in my brush. So I'm just going to follow that line with my fingernail polish. And you have to keep adding, the fingernail polish dries quickly. And I'm just putting a little bit on that paintbrush. And I'm just following the lines. If I get too crooked on my line, I can come back later and clean that up when I'm doing the cleanup. I apologize to those of you who are having trouble with Zoom. I had already tested it with other people and things seem to be working fine, so I don't understand what's the big problem now. But this is good that I run into problems because I need to get it figured out before I start teaching my PMC classes. Those classes are for certification. If anybody's wondering, I'm going to be teaching those, and I want that Zoom to be working perfectly once I start on that. So now both of these have been painted with fingernail polish. Just any kind of fingernail polish, any color. You don't want to go with clear because you won't be able to see it. So I'm going to set these aside, let those dry, and I'm going to do these. But before I start this, I want to cut a little piece off this paintbrush, so I'll be right back. Okay, so my paintbrush had a little, what looked like a little tiny hair on it. I think that was causing some of my crooked lines. So now I'm going to start with this one. That's starting to look better. So why am I using fingernail polish? The reason for that is because it's giving this a what we would call a low relief texture, so that when the fingernail polish dries, it is going to stay on the clay until it's fired. And I'm going to take sponge and water, and I'm going to be wiping it to try to get the lines to stand up as if they're embossed. There's another piece of something on my brush. I'm not good at straight lines. We're staying in the line when I draw. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, so I'm going to start on the next one. Let's see, is there any questions? Anybody have any questions while I'm going along? Okay, I'm going to add more polish. Is everybody still there? Have I lost anybody? So I'm just painting those lines. Okay, so I'll set that one aside to dry. Now, while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I did with the stamp pad. So I'm going to use this one and my stamp pad. So all I did was I took my stamp. Here's the picture on the stamp. Got the ink on it. There's my ink. Come over here, and I'm just going to stamp. Here's my picture. Stamp. There we go. So that's what I did to get these on here. Okay. So, and just another note that you want to use the same paintbrush for your fingernail polish when you do these. So just set one paintbrush aside to be able to do that, so you don't mess up a bunch of paintbrushes. So now what I want to do is get the embossed look that you see in this. You see that embossed look there where it stands up? Here's another way I can show that to you, is using silly putty. I can take the silly putty, put it on my piece, and then hopefully you'll be able to see the imprint in the silly putty. You see how that's embossed? So how is that going to happen now that I've painted fingernail polish on there? I'm going to take the pieces that are dry, and I'm going to keep rubbing them with a sponge and water until I get the thickness that I want for my piece. So to do that, I'm just going to scoot these all out of the way. And I'm going to put this one here where you can see it. And here's my little tray of sponge and water. So I just wring out the sponge. I took all the water out. It's just a little bit of water in there. And I'm just going to rub this piece with the sponge. And it's going to, in turn, make it start to stand up on those edges. So I rolled this 4 cards thick. The more you want the embossing to stand out, the thicker you have to roll this. So I did these just 4 cards because I wanted them to be real thin when I'm done after they've been fired. So I wasn't really worried about them being like 5 or 6 cards. But you really want to, if you really want the texture to stand up, then you want to make sure you got at least 5 to 6 cards before you start doing your embossing. So I'll just keep doing this, and these are going to be a set of earrings, so I want to make sure that I have the same amount of embossing on there. Let me just check this, see if people are not getting in. Nope, that's okay. So you can already see a little bit if I wasn't so close to the camera on how it's starting to stand up. So I'll just keep wetting my sponge, wringing it out, and then I come back and I just keep rubbing it. That little spot that I've got there, I'm going to scrape that off before I fire this piece. I'm not going to keep that messed up piece there. And once I have these ready and I've fired them, I'll post them back on my timeline so you can see how they turned out after they get fired. But you can already start to see how the embossing is standing up on there. So I'm going to let that one dry, and then I'm going to go to the next one. Kind of take a look at. Let's see, I don't know how good that camera's going to show it. There we go. See how it's coming out? So now I'll start the next one. Does anybody have any questions about what I'm doing yet? Okay, I'll let that one go over to the side. And I'll start on these two. And they can dry, and then you can look at them and you can come back and keep refining if you think that you need to bring it higher. I really appreciate y'all sticking in here with me on this. I'm trying to record to YouTube, trying to be live on Facebook and do Zoom, trying to get the best type of video going for class. So this really helps me to figure out all the kinks. If you would like to see more classes, put your email address and your name in the chat, and I can email out the next Zoom class next Tuesday, and hopefully getting it by email will be better than going through posting on Facebook. I have a feeling that the Facebook is my problem. So y'all want to attend another class next week. Next week, I'm going to show how to do fingerprint on metal clay. So hopefully the next one will work better. Okay, so that's it for today. Give me your feedback. Thanks for joining.